All right, I'll call this meeting to order. This is Town Council's special meeting on April 9th at 7 o'clock p.m. First order of business is roll call, Madam Clerk.
Good evening. Councilman Larson.
Here.
Councilwoman Urchard.
Here.
Mayor Green.
Here.
Councilwoman Castillo and Councilwoman Scafidi, sorry. Mayor Green, you have a quorum of the council with Councilwomen Castillo and Scafidi absent, and they were both excused absences.
Okay, great. We are going right into the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, has everyone had a chance to look at the agenda?
Yes.
I would entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
Motion to adopt the agenda?
Second.
We have a motion, it's been seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor of adopting the agenda, please say aye.
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 Aye. All right, so we'll move right into action items. Kind of have a long list tonight, and all the people that are in attendance here, and I'm sure we have dozens of people at home that are watching, but a lot of the stuff that we went over at the previous meeting, and then we have a few things kind of at the end. In general, just so you know, in light of the kind of the way the last meeting went, my intention is not to take public comment until the public comment at the end of the meeting. Although if there are, I will take testimony if there's a direct relation to, whatever the topic is. So it'll I think be a lot more clean, and we shouldn't have as much back and forth. So at this point, we will just go right into ordinance number 2025-002. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve ordinance number 2025-002, building and development fee schedule, second reading.
Second?
We have a motion, it's been seconded. Discussion. Madam Clerk, we didn't have any last-minute changes on this particular one today, did we?
There was the only change that was made to this one is there was some clarification after some additional conversations with the building official, and based on how we are setting up the process for his contract, he will bill us rather than having a 2-hour minimum. It's just, I shifted that into, it'll be $175 an hour for those additional inspection fees. We've agreed that it'll be $175 an hour, and it will be a half an hour minimum for everything that he does for us. So I shifted it away from the 2 hours minimum.
Okay. And the multiplier?
Yeah, everything's the same. And so Gina is finalizing a spreadsheet, trying to really examine our costs, our actual costs. Yeah. So we're hoping to have that over to all of you here before the end of the week so that you guys can review it. And I think that discussion before we set that final, we need to thoroughly look at that next reading.
Okay. That sounds good to me. Does anyone have any questions?
We just have, this might be more for Jim, my non-English degree or my abilities for the extension affidavit. We have commercial, multi-unit, single family, but below that says built through the International Building Code.
Shouldn't say that. Probably should build. Where does it say International Building Code?
What section is it?
Extension affidavit.
Oh. I
just don't, to me that
Grammar?
word, And I'm the last person that's grammar police, but that's why I'm kind of like,
I would put built pursuant to the international.
Okay. Thank you.
We'll just catch that on the third reading,
Yeah.
if you don't mind?
Yep.
Okay,
I will write it down and we'll edit that.
okay,
Pursuant, correct, Jim?
yes,
Yes, pursuant.
Thank you.
that seems better, more legal.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate it.
Any other comments or questions?
I'll use $1, you can use $20.
Exactly.
All right, all those in favor of ordinance number 2025-002 on second reading, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? None. Ordinance carried on second reading. All right, we'll go through next, International Building Code.
Make a motion to approve second reading of ordinance 2025-007, International Code Council Building Valuation Data.
Second.
We have a motion, it's been seconded, discussion. Madam Clerk, was there any changes that we made to this one?
No.
Recently? Okay, this is basically the same that we had on the first reading. There were no minor changes, grammar or anything.
Not that I recall.
Yep. I think this is great. This is exactly what we need. And it feeds right into the building permit fees. So I think it's kind of a no-brainer. Any other discussion?
Nope.
All right, all those in favor of ordinance number 2025-007 on second reading, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Ordinance carries on second reading. All right. Now, ordinance number 2025-001.
Motion to approve ordinance number 2025-001, prohibiting the extension of water and sewer services to property located outside incorporated boundaries. Third reading.
Second.
We have a motion, it's been seconded. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, was there any small changes that we picked up since the last reading?
I don't recall if it was this time or the last time. That the only change, though, that I made was just, I think it was on the second page, there was a clarification about water. There was a usage of a term of water and sewer services, and at one point it only said water, and I added the sewer services after checking with Jim to clarify that that was clearly the intention.
Where is it?
So I think it was on the second page in A, maybe. I'd have to-
Oh, water and sewer services.
Yep,
Yeah.
there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, I think it's this,
If it's just water, then just strike.
No, I added the sewer. I added it, what it needed to be added. It is supposed to be
Oh,
water
okay.
and sewer services. Yep.
yeah, I'm happy with this, especially the part that basically doesn't, there's still an option to be brought in if there's an exception, so I'm happy with that. We're not necessarily tying the hands of future administrations with something that's totally binding. So, yeah,
That was going to be my thought is, would this still fall under the, what are we calling? The
special use.
special use permit in case, we can't think of every
Yo,
thing down the road. So if there is something where it does make sense not to annex in property,
Yep.
but to give them services,
I think,
is that what they would fall under, is they would?
Well, I think you're-
Because how would that work if they're not a resident? So would they still be able to do a special use permit, apply for a special use permit to receive town sewer and water?
well, I think this ordinance would capture that.
Yes.
Right, that's what I mean. So, like I say, just hypothetically, we can't think of anything. If there becomes a situation where a property in
No,
the future.
it says right
section
here,
3.
town council may, upon the vote of 3/4 of the town council in the affirmative.
Section 3?
Yeah, authorize
go.
water and sewer service connections of properties outside the town boundaries if the following conditions are met.
Perfect.
So there's.
Thank you.
I
There
think,
has to be a written agreement and
yeah,
some
Perfect.
investigation.
Perfect, thank you.
yeah.
Missed
So
it.
I don't think that necessarily, like, you'd be able to apply basically to be, get the services.
Gotcha.
Wouldn't necessarily have to get the special use permit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Hey, any other questions, comments?
Nope.
Good?
Good.
Okay. All those in favor of ordinance number 2025-001, ordinance of the town of Alpine, Wyoming prohibiting the extension of water and sewer services to property located outside the incorporated boundaries of the town of Alpine, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Nay, or excuse me, all those opposed? None. Ordinance carries on third reading. Okay, moving on down the road here. Next, we have planning and zoning meeting schedule.
Make a motion to approve resolution number 2025-010, planning and zoning meeting schedule, repealing and replacing resolution number 2024-037.
Second.
We have a motion, it's been seconded, discussion. So this was in an effort to, basically, we've kind of figured, decided that planning and zoning only needs to meet once a month. And even with all the changes we made to the land use development code, we feel comfortable. We've talked to planning and zoning about that. You may get your chance if you'd like to discuss this. But that was, the purpose of this was, this resolution was to repeal and replace that. Does anyone have any questions regarding that?
We've just kind of streamlined the processes so they don't need to have meetings. a month
Yeah,
before.
well, and we also kind of took some of the responsibilities away and gave it to the building
Right, inspection.
official.
official.
So,
I've always said this board has it easy
yeah,
prior, only meeting once a month, whereas P and Z was meeting twice a month.
yeah. And we.
Caught up to me.
Any other discussion?
Would you like to bear your testimony, Dan?
Would you like to come up to the podium and discuss?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Planning and zoning, second in command, Dan Scow. When we start the master plan discussions, we've talked about how much time, on our board, we've talked about how much time that's going to take for us. I don't think we're going to be able to do that in one meeting.
Yeah, I still don't understand. I know it says in land use development code that you're part of that, but I don't know how much you're actually going to be involved in the master plan, other than
Well,
giving a
then-
recommendation on whether or not.
Then you need to repeal it out of the master plan, out of our land use development code. You need to take that part out of it because it mandates us to be that.
I don't think it's as strong as that. It just says.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying.
I'll give it
you
to
know,
Jim.
We need to
Yes,
take
sir.
it out of there. If you don't want us to be part of it, then you got to take it out of there. Because it does talk about that
Yeah.
we're responsible for that.
Okay, there's a lot of things that happen around here that people,
I'm
you know.
just, you know,
You don't want your planning and zoning meetings to end up getting hijacked by the master plan.
no, well, it's not so much that. We just want to know what your purview for us is, and if it says we're supposed to be doing that, we really need to take it out
Yeah,
of there.
see, the thing is, when that was written, when the last master plan was done, I think the intention was, you know, take a look at it every few years, whatever, but that's way too much to put on three
We
people
just-
on the count.
We just talked about that. We just did this.
What do you mean?
When we were having our discussions sitting right here with you guys, planning and zoning, we talked about that. That was the specific notes. I have it in my notes. We all have it in our notes. It is our responsibility to do that.
It says periodically update the municipal master plan, seek insight from the.
That's
community.
part of our purview. Now,
It doesn't necessarily say you
you
need
should
to.
take it out of
Okay,
it.
then maybe we will.
I'm just saying, we were questioning it. So-
No one up here is saying, Dan, you need to do that. So
No.
if you choose not to do it, fine, but just because that says that. I mean, we
When you
absolutely.
hired us, Mr. Mayor, you told us we had to follow that book. So we're
Mr.
just
Mayor?
trying to bring it to your attention that
Jim's
if it
thoughts.
says it, we have to take it out of it. If you don't want us to do it, I'm okay with that.
Jim, do you have any thoughts on that?
So my thought would be is just to do
You want, Jim?
my thought would be, when we begin, or prior to beginning this, just do a motion to temporarily suspend section, what is it, 2B7 there, for the course of the master plan project until that's completed.
And how do you do that?
Just do a motion, just say, hey, look, there's a conflict here. We're going to do a resolution to suspend that section, just that specific section, I think it's 2B7, until the completion, and then it would go back to,
Then they can look at it
yeah,
every few
they,
years or whatever.
look at it every few
Yeah.
years, right. So, just
Let's
so
do it for the
they feel
15th.
okay, and it's really not that big of a legislative process.
Yeah. I think in the past, they put that in there because, you know.
They wanted them to do it rather than having to hire someone to do it.
Exactly.
And spend
And that may be, we already talked about it, you know, in the future, we're just gonna budget money set aside
To get
every,
it updated every.
yeah, every 5
5
years or
years.
whatever. Yeah, so I think that we may consider taking that out, but we don't need to do it now.
Sure.
And especially, we'll suspend that if that's the best way to do it, and then we'll figure out it, when next time we redo the land use development code, we'll decide if we actually want to take it out or not. So.
Yep. Mr. Mayor, Jim, would this, I assume, be a separate motion?
Yes.
As opposed to an amended motion to what we're doing? Because
Yeah.
the motion to
it'd be a
what we're
separate-
doing is very
We'll
different.
just do a resolution.
Okay,
We'll do it next
person.
Tuesday.
Okay, perfect.
We'll just write a really quick something that suspends that.
Okay.
It'll be resolution next, whatever's in line,
Okay.
and then that takes a lot of the pressure off of them.
Perfect.
Hi, Brian.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
yeah, follow up with Dan?
do you have a question?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just, does that work for you, Dan? Does that make you feel,
Yeah, it's fine. In the conversations, we're really,
right?
we don't want you to do it, but it was in there. so
Sure. So with
whatever
the-
it gets to make sure that it's a legal piece,
Yep.
that's all.
So with the suspension of this,
Whatever you guys want to do, I'm just bringing it to your attention.
and I appreciate that, but does that also make you feel at ease, more
The
at
rest of the
ease?
board, do you think they would be fine with that too?
I can't speak for them, I'm just relaying the information because I've read that too many times to know all
Yeah.
the pieces and parts.
Yep. No,
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank
we'll
you, Mr.
just handle it next month, I guess. But any other conversation, discussion? All right, all those in favor of resolution number 2025-010, resolution repealing and replacing resolution number 2024-037, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Resolution carries. All right. Next is same thing for town council.
Motion to approve resolution number 2025-011, town council meeting schedule, repealing and replacing resolution number 2025-038 and resolution number 2024-039.
Second?
We have a motion. It's been seconded. Any discussion? This has come about since I took office. We decided to have 2 meetings a month. One was going to be a work session, and the next was going to be an actual town council meeting for every month. And we've kind of found that we've had so many special meetings that require us to be here and be able to vote for things and have to advertise it and everything, that this is actually the better way to go. So our plan is just to go to 2 meetings a month from here till the end of the year, and then we'll reevaluate after the end of the year. Does anyone have any questions or concerns about that?
I only had one, and I don't know, I haven't meant to look it up, and I did not. I don't know if it's a state statute or if it's a bylaw that we have as far as absences from normal meetings, if we wanted to extend. I believe if you miss 4 meetings in a year, Any member of the board, you can be suspended. I didn't know if we, because we're now doing 2 meetings, if we wanted to add to that. I don't think anybody's ever in danger of
Yeah.
that, but where we're doubling the meetings, do we need to extend
I
that?
think it may be a state statute.
Is it a state
Look
statute?
at that.
That's right. I think I read it in Wham's book. That's why I
Yeah.
think it's a state statute.
Yeah.
Therefore, we can't change it.
Yeah.
But
But-
be aware.
But be aware.
But everybody pretty much comes
Yeah.
to the
Yeah, yeah,
majority
yeah.
anyway.
Just-
Yep.
Or if, we always try to do Zooms if someone has to
Right.
be out, so,
Or you can call in.
yeah.
Lots of options.
Thank you for that. We'll just make note of that.
Yep.
I doubt we'll be making any changes to that, but, any other questions or discussion regarding this? All right, all those in favor of resolution number 2025-11, resolution repealing and replacing resolution number 2025-038 and resolution number 2024-039, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? None. Resolution carries. All right. Okay, we have, next is the design standards.
Make a motion to approve resolution number 2025-012, establishing design and construction standards for sewer lines and water lines within the town of Alpine.
Second.
We have a motion. It's been seconded. Discussion. Madam Clerk, can you give us a little background on this?
Yeah, so Craig, our Public Works Director, has been working with Jorgensen Engineering to develop standard specifications for the installation of water, sewer, and roads. What that will provide is a consistency across the board. Everybody who is installing any of those infrastructure, whether it's on their property or on ours, it should be done to a certain standard. And so this is just adopting those standards so that moving forward into the construction season, that allows that consistency to happen. So,
These standards, who wrote these or where were these?
Jorgensen Engineering wrote them.
Okay. I mean, it's a super long document, and to be honest, I have not read through this, but I have to trust that our town engineer's doing what's best for us.
Yeah, and Craig has reviewed them and has found them consistent with
What he would
what
expect.
he would expect, yes.
Did anyone read through this?
Yeah, my only question is how do these differ from IRC codes, which we've adopted? Maybe Dan can shed some light on that.
So, Dan Scow, Planning and Zoning, these are formatted engineered drawings that have been adopted by Pinedale, Jackson, and Afton to utilize how sewer and water containment is all done. So it's not per some guideline, it's the engineers have come up with a standard.
Okay.
And since they're our engineers, we're hoping that the council sees to just adopt those protocols, because then it becomes really easy. You look in the hole, if it's done like that picture, if it's not, take it out and replace it. Just do it over.
Gotcha.
That's the purpose of it. You know, so there is some
Yeah.
congruent, you know,
Yes.
like, so when you put it out to bid, everybody's gonna play off the same deck,
Right.
correct? Make sense?
Yeah.
And Dan, and just back to his question, because he was asking about the building codes. I assume the building codes only, I know in my past life, doing water and sewer, building codes only went to so many feet outside of the structure, the building drain, and then it was not governed by the building code, but you have more experience here in Wyoming, so
No,
please speak to that.
it's pretty much like that, Ms. Clerk. The grade is basically inside the home until it goes through the foundation wall. And
Okay,
then
thank you.
however the town and county sees fit as to how they want those lines to be
Yeah.
vetted. Most of the time, it's to your property line and
Mm-hmm.
to your connection. So what happens at that connection? Is there a shut-off valve? What happens at the shut-off valve? What's it happening to the connection to the sewer line? Those are those pieces. But when we get into commercial development or we get into R2 and R3, there are certain standards
Yeah.
that the engineers have created that that should be followed.
They need
And-
to meet or exceed what we're suggesting here.
Yes.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
they build this model and they say, for all of the contingencies that might happen for us, these are all the, it's like a cut and paste, and another engineer, Sunrise, could take out of this and say, okay, we need to use this, 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 and this. And then they make their civil drawings.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Good.
Thank
Any
you.
other?
Thank you for your expert testimony.
Well, just
That's
trying-
what we're considering it now. Thank you.
You are
That's very helpful.
Thank you.
All right. Any other discussion? All right. All those in favor of resolution number 2025-012, resolution establishing design and construction standards for sewer lines and water lines within the town of Alpine, Wyoming, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Resolution carries. Right. Okay, now it looks like we're on to Design Review Committee.
Motion to approve ordinance number 2025-005, Design Review Committee, second reading.
Second?
We have a motion, it's been seconded. Discussion. So, just so, we have Brian James here, who's going to be our expert, who's currently on the Design Review Committee. We have made a couple changes to this that you have not seen yet. So, unless you already looked at it, but you will notice on page 2, Brian, you probably haven't seen this yet either, unless you downloaded it from our website. But we made a change in, it would be section 4, letter B, evaluate applications submitted to the Design Review Committee for compliance with the Alpine Design Review Committee guidelines. Review development applications for alignment with Design Review Committee requirements, and advise and provide technical assistance to Planning and Zoning Commission, Board of Adjustments, and Town Council regarding adherence to the Alpine Design Review Committee guidelines. So we just wanted to really clarify what their responsibilities were. Basically, from what we talked about today, they're developing the guidelines, and they're going to say they either conform or they're non-conforming for this. And then from there, it gets sent to, pretty much at that point, it gets sent to the building official.
Correct.
And the building official is the one that decides, we will give a permit with these stipulations, or, make these changes, add shrubbery in, or trees, or whatever we need to see, this, that. And then there's not so much of the going back and forth with the Design Review Committee. That's kind of the intention, like, we just want to make it more streamlined. So we added that language, and
So the
meeting,
design review committee is not the governing body. They review and then they make a recommendation, yes or no.
correct, so
It's the building official who
is the
makes
ultimate,
decision as to whether it goes forward, regardless of the recommendation from the DRC.
that's right. Yeah,
And
Do you-
it's his responsibility to make sure it's conforming with all of our guidelines, whether they're the Design Review Committee or the Land Use Development Code.
Right. That makes sense.
do you like that? Okay. So we've kind of taken that, we're going to be adding some language within the guidelines that kind of says that in the process, but yeah, that's basically the only change that we added from the last reading, so.
Except for the
Section
meeting.
6, meetings.
I'm sorry, I was getting to that. Section 6, meetings. The Design Review Committee will meet as needed on the fourth Tuesday of each month to review applications for compliance with the Alpine Design Review Committee guidelines. This is a new one, Brian, if you don't mind, do you mind getting on the microphone? Because I just want to ask you a couple questions. This is a little bit different than what we talked about at the beginning when we first came around. There's a button on that microphone when it's red. Thank you. So what we wanted to do is make it so basically the fourth Tuesday of every month, people know you guys are going to be meeting, and we need to figure out exactly the time frame when they have to have their plans into you. But you guys will have 2 weeks, say, to look at plans, and it's only everything above R1, right? So it's got to be commercial or multifamily or whatever. And then you guys have a period of time to look at it and then make your determination whether it's conforming or not. If no one submitted anything, then the meeting just gets canceled.
Sure.
So,
That makes sense. I mean, the only thing, we're self-conscious of delaying construction, like we don't want that to happen. So maybe there's some kind of stipulation that a special meeting can be requested with enough notice.
That doesn't need to be written into the ordinance. You may call a special meeting. You have to just comply with state statute, which is no problem.
yeah, you guys can call a meeting whenever. I don't know if we're going to pay you.
Forget it.
You didn't even realize you're getting paid now. But we actually did add that this body gets $50 per meeting.
Cool. Glad I showed up today.
Well, not this meeting.
Yeah.
It has
only,
to pass first.
only the other meetings that you're going to be attending. Yeah, so I think the process, we agree, we don't want to hold up anything.
Right.
I think that the other nice thing is having it on the fourth Tuesday, and then planning and zoning is the second Tuesday.
That makes sense.
If you meet with them and say, you guys need to ramp this up, before they get to the point where they have to show them their site plan, they can make some changes. They could do whatever they need to do. Let's just say if it's the shrubberies or barriers that you guys are suggesting in here, that you just say, you've missed this, you need to add it to the site plan, and then you're likely to make it through. Does that?
That makes perfect, that's what we've discussed internally, and that was my next question too, is, what is that rotation? That sounds perfect.
Yeah. Because I think it actually on some months might be more than 2 weeks, but that should give them plenty of time to work through that.
Yeah, I think you, and although it doesn't, I don't think it specifically says, we could tweak it if we need to. What we discussed in working through this today with Brett was that you should be able to approve or find the application compliant, non-compliant, or that it's compliant with conditions. That would allow you to not hold them up. So you could find it compliant, but you could say, okay, we're going to say you're compliant, but you need to add A, B, C to your plan. And they have that 2 weeks before they go to planning and zoning to get that done.
Well, and technically, it just, the building official is the one, they could come.
Yes.
The plans could be, let's just say they put plans into planning and zoning and the design review committee at the same time. And then you guys suggest you're compliant with these stipulations or conditions, then that gets sent to the building official. As long as the building official sees that those things happened, then he can approve it. It doesn't necessarily have to go to them. It's just kind of like, if you suggest changes that they should make to their site plan, then it helps with their process for planning and zoning. But it won't hold up anything from that perspective.
We don't have to wait till the fourth Tuesday to meet to approve it. So if we get drawings that are just obvious, we can meet
You guys,
outside of the fourth Tuesday
guys could-
to approve it right away.
no, no, what,
They could meet at their purview. I mean, if they got a plan, and that's the only plan.
no, technically, so we have to deal with open meeting laws and everything. So technically, you can only meet the fourth Tuesday of every month unless you guys schedule a special meeting and then we have to advertise for it and all that stuff. But in this whole process, again, it shouldn't really hold people up if they know this is the process and they're able to stay on top of it. You guys can, at any time, speak amongst yourselves. You guys can email back and forth. You can, they can't email. They're not making a decision.
If they're well, that's what you were discussing, is it's about making a decision.
No, I don't, no, I wasn't to there yet.
Oh,
I'm not saying they can make,
Yeah, no making a decision.
no, you can email back and forth. You can say,
We can comment amongst each other off the record,
exactly. But you have to
but
be
we can't
here-
make a decision.
You have to
until
be here on the fourth Tuesday.
an advertised meeting or the fourth Tuesday.
Yeah.
Right.
And then that's when you actually can say, we will, pass it, this compliant, or however
our
that language is gonna
recommendation.
be. It's not necessarily
Or deny it.
proving it, but you're saying they're compliant. But you guys can email, concerns or whatever, but you can't vote, you can't do any of that stuff
Right.
via email. So it has to be a public meeting. Does that sound all right?
That sounds good.
Okay. Looks like Mr. Scow has a question,
So.
or he has more he has more expert testimony.
No. I'm just, something to consider. If I were to bring you in a set of plans on the 1st, and everything was there for planning and zoning, everything was there for the building committee, you are putting that guy behind 2 months
Right.
because he doesn't get to review. He can review, but he can't vote.
We are not doing that.
I
They're
don't-
doing that to
No.
themselves.
I want you to consider how you've set this up.
We have considered it. I'll listen, but go ahead.
But you've made him 2 months behind. Because we're not gonna meet and we're not gonna vote.
You have nothing to,
I understand that, but if we're adjusting the site plan, if he adjusts the drawings, it becomes a site plan adjustment.
maybe.
Well,
It could be
if,
the building, it could be
Correct, but-
awnings, it could be,
I'm just saying, we are hindering the applicant. Just want you to consider that. Because of the meeting, maybe they could meet like the Friday or whatever, right after planning and zoning. So
We-
they can move it to, because that way it's there for the next planning and
so
zoning.
we have discussed all those things. And basically, the onus is on the applicant. They
It's-
need to,
Mr. Mayor, you're
excuse me,
setting
Dan.
this up.
Dan,
It's 2
can I
months.
speak now?
I'm just saying, it's 2 months. If I came to you, it's 2 months.
it's not.
It's not.
Well, I can't see how you do the dates right here if you're gonna do it right now. Because of the way the schedules are working, we are not gonna be able to approve whatever gets adjusted until the following month. So that puts them back another month before they get to meet. That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, be aware of it. It can happen.
It could, but people need to not come to us May for this problem. And this is also commercial, everything above.
Correct. And most of the people aren't gonna know
And keep
that.
in mind, what you're talking about is if there is something on the site plan that needs to change.
Correct.
And they're gonna catch it, and then it may take 2 months, but the applicant knows what the process is now.
Just awareness, that's all. I'm just, that's
Yeah,
all.
there's only, we're trying to put all these things in, and there might be a situation where it pushes someone back 2 months. But it's not my concern.
if, Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
So I'm just going back on the work diagram that we approved through that. So in Dan's scenario, I'm an applicant, first of the month, I hand in my paperwork. The process that it goes through, first goes to Christine, then she sends it, she
They
reviews it.
do a checklist.
Do a quick checklist, passes all that checklist, then it goes to the building
Official?
official.
No.
No.
No, so it's, let's just say, someone with a big commercial building comes in,
Right.
and they know that with this timing, they're gonna have to, it has to go to the design review committee first, basically.
Gotcha.
So you better know that, and you can submit it to the design review committee and the planning and zoning if you want to at the exact same time. You can say submit it to both.
So so on the application, we have a section that does just that, lets them know, like, here's the process, and know that the design, P and Z meets the second Tuesday of the month, design community meets the fourth Tuesday of the month. As a commercial applicant, your application will need to go before them before you begin. So that's on there, on the application, so they'll be like, okay, great, I know, but when I hand this in, I have a month to go, before they even look at that. Is that?
Yeah, I mean,
correct?
yeah,
Okay.
if you decide, I mean, I think the deadline's gonna be, say, 2 weeks before
Right.
their meeting.
Right.
So at the end of the first week, if you want design review committee to look at it, you have to have it in by the 7th or whatever it is, right? And then, so let's just play it out. If for, on the fourth Tuesday, they say, you're non-compliant for all these reasons, and then you have 2 weeks basically to go and make the change before it ever goes to the planning and zoning, but it doesn't have to be submitted to planning and zoning. You could just wait for it to come back here, or they could approve it, say it's compliant with these stipulations, conditions, or whatever. So in my mind, it really shouldn't hold anyone up. And especially if people know the guidelines are the next thing we're gonna talk about, when they come in to,
Right.
you know, when the owner buys a piece of property and the architect, if they're doing their due diligence, they know there's design guidelines, you better read them and make sure you've implemented that stuff. So I think the onus is put on them at that point.
Right, and I believe we talked, our last meeting, 2 meetings ago, they're all starting to blend, but we talked about scheduling a review in the fall to see how this played out this summer.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So if you guys would, obviously that would help us out immensely. Was it a cluster or was it good?
No, well, they'll be able to give us feedback,
Yeah.
I think, and we,
There's only 3 of us, so it's easy to call it a special meeting.
yeah.
Yeah,
And how
Turn on your microphone. Turn on your microphone, please. We have to have at least a week in advance to advertise it.
for them, yeah.
Well, it's just because it only prints the paper once a week.
Oh,
So you have to be cognizant of the SVI
I mean,
limitation.
technically, we can post it, the 3 places could be
In
here,
town,
the post
yes.
office and someplace
Yeah.
else, and then we're covered. But if there's extenuating circumstances, someone, we're willing to look at that. I mean, there's gonna be a cost associated with doing that, so I think we're covered with the costs that are, if you're going to submit something to the design review committee, so.
And if there are 3 people on the design review committee, is there stipulations to how many people have to be at the meeting? Like if somebody's sick,
You have to
it
have,
just has to be majority?
Quorum would be 2.
Okay.
Sound good? All right, let's move on. Any other discussion? All those in favor of ordinance number 2025-05, Design Review Committee on second reading, say aye.
aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Ordinance passes on second reading. Now, we are going to get into the guidelines, which, Mr. James, you will find it interesting that we have updated them and added some stuff today.
Great.
And we met today, well, let's get it on the table.
Motion to approve first reading ordinance number 2025-006, Design Review Committee Guidelines.
Second.
We have a motion, it's been seconded, discussion. So, we were considering just not discussing this tonight, but in light of the fact that it's so important to get these guidelines dialed in, and we have tonight's meeting, we have the 15th, and then we have another meeting on May 6th. And we think it's real important to get the guidelines in before
Building
the
season.
building season.
Yeah.
So, we've made some changes that you'll see in green here, which I could read through them real quick, but basically, I just want to make sure that, because you guys have not seen this, we changed the second whereas to the Design Review Committee has developed the Alpine Design Review Committee guidelines to establish clear expectations for the design of all buildings within the town, excluding those in the R1 zone. So that's everything other than residential, which is what we've talked about. And then the adoption of the Design Review Committee guidelines, Section 1, the Alpine Design Review Committee guidelines as presented and recommended by the Design Review Committee are hereby adopted by the town of Alpine and Town Council. Section 2, the Design Review Committee guidelines apply to all properties within the town of Alpine excluding residential buildings and will be used for design for the committee to evaluate development and building applications for compliance. I think the one thing we missed here is, unless, Madam Assistant Clerk, did we add language that says the most recent version of the design guidelines?
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, she's checking on, I haven't
we
heard
have-
confirmed that this is actually resolution number 6.
Oh, okay, we can look at that. Madam Clerk, did we add language that said that basically it's the most recent, design review guidelines?
The Land Use Development Code designates it as such. Yes.
Okay. So we don't need to put it in this ordinance?
No.
Jim, do you think we need to do that?
No.
Okay. Any other discussion? Let me,
The only other thing under
Yep.
applicability might be renovations. I'm not sure how to address that. But if we're including all properties, there has to be a way to exclude a renovation or require that it's included based on the extent of the renovation, something we hadn't thought about as a DRC. And that could be something we add later.
I'm sorry,
so
Mr.
the
Mayor,
question was
missed that question.
basically, what, we didn't put language in here about renovations. So let's just say, a big building like Melvin was going to do renovations. If they were gonna do renovations, that they would have to comply with the most recent design review committee.
Right. We can put that in for second reading.
Yeah, I think we could. That's a good point, Brian. Where would you would suggest putting it in section 2 under applicability?
I think, I think so. That's where we're listing all properties, just as an all-inclusive thing in terms of our language currently.
Should we add language that basically says
Just make a note for
whether it's new construction or renovation?
renovations, yeah, for reading number 2.
Yeah. Does that make sense there? Okay. Good catch. I think that's good. Any other suggestions? I think it's pretty well dialed in for this first reading. We'll take a better look at it in the next few days
That's
until.
good for first reading.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and then we'll take a look at it by the end of this week. We'll have any other changes ready for next week's meeting.
And I will tell you that the updates will not make a Thursday packet.
Yeah.
You will probably get them on Monday morning, because there is a meeting on Friday to make sure this is where they want it to be.
And Brian, just so you know, we have taken your guidelines that we have up here, and we've just kind of played around a little bit with the formatting, and it sounds like we're going to make a big drastic change in formatting, but all the content is going to stay the same.
Okay.
We've worked through the design review procedures, and we're going to take another swipe at that, just make sure that we've got exactly the way it needs to be on there.
Yeah, totally open to it.
Yeah. And so you'll be working with Gina. We talked to Brett about that today. You'll be
Okay.
working with Gina to dial that in, and Gina and Sarah will be kind of working on the look of it, but we really want to land this for that first meeting in May. So in general, everyone's on board with the heart of the matter, the verbiage that you guys have brought forward. And basically, there is this language here that I think you guys need to discuss. Discuss vinyl, stucco, plastic, et cetera. Incorporate Western character and exposed structural elements. So I see
That looks
what
like a
you guys-
note for us. It's a work in progress.
Yeah, I see what you guys are doing because this is like the first step and you don't want to limit things.
Yeah.
And this is also going to be something that gets looked at basically every year, just like the land use development code. And eventually we may add on specific things the way Jackson has,
It's a living document.
Yeah,
for
it's,
sure, yeah.
instead of it being 10 pages, it might be 40 pages in 20 years.
Right.
Who knows? We don't know. But this is a great first step, so.
That was our attempt to not be specific about materials, and just to stipulate that it's Western character, because it is so subjective
Yeah.
in terms of opinion. So that's why we had the note there to discuss like some of the materials we really don't want to see.
There's
So
a
we need
there's
to
a set of
revisit that.
plans that I saw today that I'm glad we're doing this now. So I anticipate you guys having a meeting in May for sure. And after, it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But anyways, I think for your meeting, when you guys get together next, if you can just kind of figure out what you want to do with that discussion on vinyl and stucco and plastic and stuff like that. But, we don't want to be limiting at this
Right.
point. We'll see where it goes from.
I mean, my vote is that it can just go away, that specific language.
Yeah.
I've seen stucco done really well.
Yeah,
Even vinyl can be done well in the right circumstances.
we'll let you guys make that determination, but. Okay, so this ordinance does include the guidelines. So when you're approving this, you're approving the guidelines as shown, so. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor of ordinance number 2025-006, an ordinance adopting the Alpine Design Review Committee guidelines for the town of Alpine, Wyoming on first reading, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? None. Pass on first reading. Thank you, Brian, for coming.
Thank you guys for pushing this along.
Yeah, thanks for all the
Made a lot
hard
of
work
progress.
you guys have been doing on that. I know it's tough to come up with something. Well, you're using guidelines from other people or other municipalities in the area, so it's like not reinventing the wheel from zero, but
That's right. We found the language that we liked from multiple municipalities. So it's a bit of a Frankenstein, but it's a good framework
Yeah.
to build on.
I agree. So, thanks.
Thank
You're
you,
more than
guys.
welcome to stay. We plan on being here till 10 o'clock or so.
Oh, Mr. Mayor, I thought you were going to say 7:59.
We could do it if we wanted to. We could be out of here by 7:59. Next, we have, what do we have? Official appointments.
Motion to approve resolution number 2025-013, appealing and replacing resolution number 2025-003, official appointments.
Second?
We have a motion. It's been seconded. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
This was just to catch, adding Gina Corson as the Assistant Planning and Zoning Administrator. We currently have the Code Enforcement Officer is vacant, so if anyone knows somebody with maybe even some law enforcement background, we would love to talk to them, and a part-time job for the town of Alpine. We also changed the wastewater responsible in charge to Dustin Morrell.
There is
And-
an error.
I'm sorry?
There is an error.
Where is it?
So it shows water responsible charge / substitute on one line, and it says Craig. The substitute is Dustin Merle now. So we had changed, we were missing one because of the loss of other employees. We were missing that
Okay.
substitute, so we didn't have one.
Okay.
And so now that Dustin is here, that he's the substitute. He has the license.
Okay, and then, so we'll make that change in an amendment, and then, we've added Shannon Bowers back in with two years on travel and tourism. Special events, we added Sarah Greenwald, and think that's the last change. So this is the same from the appointments at the beginning of the year. We just added a few people. Do we have an amendment?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to amend resolution number 2025-013, appealing and replacing resolution number 2025-003, official appointments. Amendment being under Public Works Department, water responsible charge/substitute. Current document says Craig Leesburg, change that to Dustin Morrell.
We have an amendment. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Discussion. I think we don't have any discussion. That sounds like what needs to happen. All those in favor of said amendment, say aye.
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 Aye. All right, so we're back to the original resolution. Any other discussion? The one thing, Councilman Larson, just wanted to go over the tourism board terms. Does that look correct?
That is correct. So they're 3-year terms, Mr. Mayor, and that is the remaining of each person's 3-year
Right.
term.
I think that clarifies it really well the way we're doing it now.
Yeah.
So it's, how many years of service you have left, basically?
Yep.
And when you're done. So I just wanted to make sure because we had this that way before, but I didn't know if you guys had made any changes.
No, sir.
Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor of resolution number 2025-013, a resolution to repeal and replace resolution number 2025-003, designating the official appointments, assignments, and the agencies of the town of Alpine, Wyoming for the calendar year 2025, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Resolution carries. Okay. Now, last is the town sign. And this, we have a recommendation from the town, from the staff on a design that has been been developed. I worked with the company Exposure Signs in Jackson to come up with this. And basically, since we're going to be spending money, we need town council to approve it. We are going to get bids. We're in the process of getting bids.
Yes, sir.
And the sign that I want to make sure we're totally transparent with everyone here and at home so they know what we're offering up. But the signs that we're suggesting are, I've got it up on the screen here, one of the color schemes. I'll just bring up another one. This is approximately 10 feet tall. The sign width, the sign itself is 10 feet wide by 6 feet tall, approximately. And we have a person there that's about 6 feet tall that you can see. And then these posts are actually faux, and they would look similar to this sign that these people did. These are actually sitting on a concrete base, and we would be doing the same. This sign is actually going to have metal supports on the side that go into a concrete base, and then those are faux logs just kind of wrapped on the outside. Mm-hmm. So this is utilizing the logo that we have put together over the last couple of years. Our goal is to get the funding, basically say we need to get going on this because they actually, when we got the license from YDOT, the permit to put these in, they said, now you need to take the other ones out, like right away. Oh. So we're kind of under this, we're not going to have a sign at all here very soon.
Okay.
So, Madam Clerk, what else are we trying to achieve tonight other than just kind of?
I think we're putting out for bid. The bids will come back to you. The goal is to make sure that everybody's in agreement before we just can keep moving forward.
Yeah. If, honestly, at this point, if you want something different, now's the time to tell us. Because I think we're really close to pulling the trigger on this. I mean, we still have some, we need to decide the color scheme and things like that. But I think we're really close. This is a composite sign, which I have here. If anyone at home wants to come see it, you can look at the sample that we have. Have you guys
Do
seen
you
it?
want us to go
Yeah,
get
do you
it?
mind, Sarah, do you mind grabbing that? Don't hurt yourself, it's up on top of that. But it's a composite sign that's meant to last forever. You know, a metal sign will end up looking different, deteriorating over time, and be more expensive than this. But this is a composite material that gets CNC'd, so it actually has depth to it. You can see that the letters are angled, so when light hits it, it'll reflect a little bit better.
Is the intention of the design so we can still hang banners underneath the main
Yes,
sign?
good question. So that's why we left this space open here, so because we do all of our events, we need,
Right.
Leave
And-
Hannah White.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah,
I think it looks good.
Sarah's just going to hold it outside from the hours of 8 to 5.
yeah.
I'd like to buy a vowel.
But yes, we want to be able to hang banners, and also it was suggested that if we put a
Perfect.
concrete slab underneath, we could actually almost have a planter underneath that could have like some flowers or some of that grass that tall
Oh.
grows up or whatever. So we can improve even on this
Right.
design. That was his recommendation. We could also just go with 2 holes for the supports for the metal beams. But his suggestion is to do like a slab underneath it, so you can do a planter or whatever as well. We also are going to have lighting on it, so at night, you know, people be able to see these signs, so, we haven't figured out how we're going to, get power to these yet. It's more likely gonna be, solar.
Yeah, I was just gonna say solar seems like an easy
Yeah.
answer.
It's not the best, but eventually, you know, it wears out. So there's not much you can do about that. But we'll always be budgeting for upkeep on these. I mean, eventually the logs are gonna rot, and you're gonna have to.
That was my question. Would you say faux wood? Is that,
It's real wood, but they're not structural to the sign.
Oh, so they're
Yeah.
more decorative because the metal pieces are the structure.
yeah.
So
I guess that'd be my only suggestion is no wood, like be it I don't know, metal tubing or something like that, or cement that's painted wood, something like that.
I mean, obviously that's
Because wood
that's-
rots.
Yeah, that's something we can do, but we can also seal these, like, it's just part of maintenance. Every single year, the guys are out there sealing it. I mean, as a town, we can do that really easily.
Yeah.
So, I prefer the logs, because, I mean, I've seen, for example, one of the reasons why, we're even going here is because obviously we need an update. But I was driving through Driggs one day and saw their signs, and they actually have wood posts that are square, almost like old beams or something that are supporting it. It's a good-looking sign. I personally think that this design with the 3 will make it look even better. So I'm kind of the opinion that I think the logs are important, and we should keep them in. And if they do rot, it could be 10, 15 years down the road. They're not doing, see, for example, in our neighborhood, they put the beams in the concrete, or they put the logs in the concrete, and of course they rotted.
Yeah.
So that was a deal to get it out, but we're not doing that. So it's easy that in the future, if they do rot, that they could be replaced. But yeah, a simple upkeep should keep them looking pretty good, sealing
Yeah, and I
them
guess
a couple times a year if we have to.
If it ends up not lasting, well, as long as we expect it to, then we can look at replacing it with something else.
Yeah, exactly. So really at this point, we're just kind of looking for you guys to say, yeah, we like the design. We need to, don't we need a motion to spend the money?
To send the bid out.
So when the bids come back, that will be,
Did we
that's
say?
our- it's already advertised. We have to advertise it twice.
Yeah,
And so the advertising is was taken care of, but we scheduled it to be open, they'll be opened, I think for our May 6th meeting.
Okay,
Is when you guys will approve a bid, and that
vote on it.
approves us to spend the money
Okay.
and order the signs.
okay. So,
I like the black one with the white lettering.
yeah,
That really,
it pops.
It does pop.
Yeah.
yeah.
There was some comments from staff, like maybe the water should be blue or whatever. I think that might just kind of add one too many colors to it or whatever. The black, after seeing this sign, you know, you can see pretty easily what it's gonna look like going by, and it's not,
No, I think it looks good.
yeah. I mean, you could go with almost like a metal-looking color, but, you know, you could go with a rusty metal color. But I think what we'll do is we'll come up with a couple other color schemes, and by the time we like are ordering them, making the final determination.
Okay.
But yeah, we don't have to have any vote or whatever, but I just wanted you guys to see it and make sure that
Yeah.
you knew what we're working on. So,
We're on the right path.
okay, sounds good. That's all of the new business. I just got rid of it. Now we'll go into public comment, if anyone stuck around for public comment.
No testimony, Dan, just comment.
Now you can give, throw your eggs.
Mr. Mayor, would you like a motion to adjourn?
Sure,
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
we have a motion, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
thank you. Adjourn at 8:06.